your space, then pull me close.
Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of my China vlog. We're now flying from Shanghai, which was the first part of this trip, to Beijing, and planning to spend the next 3 days there. We're at the Beijing airport right now, and it was the worst passport control experience ever. First they asked us to open the suitcases, asked me to take out all the batteries and stuff, and then when I was doing the security check for my handbag, they just took out my power bag and they said like it doesn't have some specific certification accepted by Chinese law, so I cannot take it with me. So they basically took it from me, and I was surviving on it this last 3 days. And so now I asked what am I supposed to do with that. They're like, we can deliver it with a fee to your hotel in Beijing. And when I said I was staying there for 3 days, they said it's probably not possible to deliver in 3 days. So they basically, I still sent it, but we'll see if it comes at all. This is our drive from the airport to the hotel. Here's our room, and it actually feels much more spacious than the one we had in Shanghai. We have a big bed, a nice bathroom with a proper shower, and overall it feels really comfy. My first impression of Beijing is very positive. Everything feels spacious, modern, well organized. It definitely has the atmosphere of the capital city. This is the hotel lobby. We hadn't really eaten anything all day, so we decided to head out and find somewhere for dinner. We had a place in mind, but unfortunately it started raining so hard, so instead we decided to stop at a small local place just 5 minutes away from the hotel, and there is where we tried our first authentic Beijing duck in Beijing. The next day, weather was so amazing, you could never tell there was this crazy rain just the day before. It's the first day in Beijing, and we just got up to our rooftop. Now we have to be on the Forbidden City, which is our main plan for today. We booked a guided tour, and so we're heading there in like an hour. And for now we're just enjoying some sun on the rooftop. We didn't expect that weather because like the weather forecast said it's going to be raining all 3 days that we're here, so it's a nice surprise today. And it's going to be raining the next 2 days, so we should, we're planning to enjoy the sun as much as we can. And the rooftop is really nice. It's like, it has this little sitting area, and there's nobody here. I'm not sure what. I think it's opening closer to the evening. We're now approaching the Forbidden City. Honestly, we spent almost 4 hours there. The place is absolutely enormous. The Forbidden City was home of China's emperors, and for centuries, ordinary people weren't allowed to enter. The complex is divided into 2 main sections: the outer court, where official ceremonies were held, and the inner court, where emperors and his family actually lived. There are almost no trees in the outer courtyards, because they were once considered as a potential hiding place for assassins. If you think about it, it's just so cool to stand in the same place right now. The traditional rooftops are very beautiful. If you look closely, you'll notice there are small mythical animals lined up along the edges, and the more figures a building has, the more important it was. I actually preferred the inner part of the place, where there are gardens, trees, and the emperor's private living quarters. Overall, it took us almost half a day, but it's definitely one of the places you want to visit when you are in Beijing. After that, we headed to the Olympic Park, and here's the famous Bird Nest Stadium. Once again, everything in Beijing feels huge. It honestly took us almost 2 hours just to walk through one section of the park. It was a really nice place to spend the afternoon. It's so huge, and you can see some robots in the booths and some people running. Overall, the atmosphere was very, very nice. From there, we decided to go to the restaurant that my friend recommended. There was almost 1 hour queue, but everyone told us it served the best Beijing duck in the city, so we decided it was worth the wait, and honestly, it was. It was probably the best duck I've ever had. Before serving it, they even gave us a little masterclass and showed us the traditional way of preparing the pancakes. I'm actually quite obsessed with duck pancakes. We sometimes buy them in the little kits from Lidl back in London, and this was on a completely different level. They showed us exactly how to roll everything together, and the pancakes themselves were incredibly thin and delicious. The meal also came with loads of different side dishes, and everything tasted just amazing. You can see how many awards this place got. The next day, the main plan was to visit the Great Chinese Wall. It was a long drive from Beijing, around an hour and a half by car. We decided to take the cable car up. You could also walk, but it would be a long and exhausting way to get there. And here we are, going up on the cable cars. It only took us 2 minutes and the view is pretty amazing. And that's how we got to the Great Chinese Wall. The first thing I realized is that it's much more vertical than it looks in the pictures. Even just walking along the wall, you constantly go up and down very steep steps. The stones are also very old and uneven, so it becomes quite tiring quite quickly. We didn't do the full route. We walked around, enjoyed the views, took lots of pictures, and then came back down. But even seeing the small part of it in real life was such a special experience. It's one of those places where you understand the scale of history a little bit more when you're actually standing there. Day 3 in Beijing, we pretty much had 2 big things left according to our plan. Summer Palace and Beijing Zoo. Do both in one day would be a bit of a rush, and it was our last day in China, so we wanted to take it easy. There was a choice between the two, and here we are at the Beijing Zoo. The main thing everyone talks about here is, of course, the pandas. I was really excited to see them because it was my first time seeing pandas in real life. However, they were not exactly doing much. They were basically 2 very sleepy pandas, each sitting separately and mostly just lying down. But the rest of the zoo was really impressive. There were so many different animals. We saw monkeys, they were running around and climbing everywhere. There was also a polar bear swimming around in the water, which was really cool to watch. We saw lions. There were also some tropical animals that I have never seen before, which was quite exciting. There was this very unusual bird with something on its head. I had never seen anything like that before. Then we saw the real alpacas, very cute and fluffy. I saw a sloth for the first time ever. They're exactly how you imagine them, moving very slowly, just hanging there with their long arms and legs. So cool. There were elephants, rhinoceros, and even more animals around the park. We weren't rushing anywhere, so the idea was just to walk around, relax, and enjoy our last day in Beijing. The zoo itself was actually really nice, just as a place to spend time. It felt more like a big park with beautiful paths, trees, and places where you could just sit and take a break. We also saw some lemurs, and they just looked exactly as if straight out of a Madagascar cartoon. One of my favorite childhood cartoons, and they were just jumping around with their striped tails and looking very cute. Then we saw some swimming penguins, and overall just had a very chill and relaxed day. In the evening, we decided to try the duck restaurant one more time, just because we loved it so much. We were ready to wait for about an hour again, but when we arrived, we discovered the queue was actually around 4 hours long. Can you imagine? So we gave up and decided to go somewhere else. And then it was time to head back to the airport. Looking back at Beijing, I really enjoyed the city. Shanghai felt a bit more modern, fashionable, while Beijing is more traditional and historical. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure to check out my Shanghai vlog. If you want to follow more of my travels and my life in London, I would love to have you here. Thank you for watching. It was Julia. Bye!